Our next email question says, my father was in a bad wreck and had over $100,000 in medical bills, but the insurance company says that it only has $25,000 in coverage. So can the insurance company refuse to pay? Can they do that?
Well, they wouldn't be refusing to pay. They only going to pay their policy limits unless a demand is made and they go beyond that demand and don't pay it within the time frame. But if their limits are 25, that's all the insurance company is obligated to pay. Once they tender that, their obligation ceases, which is another reason that everyone should carry uninsured motorist add-on coverage. BJ kind of might want to explain how that works.
Yeah, sure. We talk about this all the time on the show because it's very important everybody have it. Uninsured or underinsured coverage means in the situation of that last email, if there's only 25,000 in coverage and a lot more in exposure in terms of bills and pain and suffering, there's no pocket to collect that money from unless you have uninsured motorist coverage. And if you have the add-on type that we recommend and Wendell mentioned, that would actually, if you had 25,000 add-on, you would have an additional $25,000 to collect. If you had 100, you'd have an additional 100. The only restriction in Georgia is you can't have more uninsured motorist coverage than you have liability coverage. So, you always want to make sure you have at least as much of your in as you do in liability coverage. But it comes in to fill the void for inadequate insurance, but it too only pays up to its policy limit. So if you had another 25 in that circumstance, there'd be a total of 50 to collect, and you still have 100,000 in medical bills.
And the other thing I might add is uninsured motorist coverage is the least expensive coverage that you have on your policy. And we see policies all the time when clients come in and they look at things and they've got roadside service, rental car insurance, all kinds of coverages that really you could get by without, and take that money and the premiums you're paying and shift it over to uninsured motorist coverage. And you're much, much better off and protected.
And insurance agents, particularly those who work for the companies, just one company, the way they ask you if you want uninsured motorist coverage, they have to ask you that. And if you say no, you have to say no in writing. Otherwise, you have it. But there's two types. There's the add-on type and the offset type. The offset type, if you have 25 in UM and there's 25 in liability, then essentially there's no UM because you take 25 from 25, leaving 0. If you have add-on, that's what you want because it goes on top of the liability coverage. And the way the applicants or applications or the agent asks the question, it makes it sound like you want to suggest, they'll say, you want the cheapest, right? And if, like Wendell said, it might only be $10, but you'll say, sure. And then you won't know you're signing away either uninsured motorist altogether or the right type, that is the add-on. So the way everything's phrased is to try to target you toward declining it or get as little as possible, which means they're trying to get you. So you need to make sure you check the right box. You want add-on coverage.
Right. That's right. And not necessarily the cheapest. I like the way you put that. BJ Savant.
It's not much.
You want to get the biggest bang for the buck.
Right.
Okay. Because we need it. That's for sure. All right. I have BJ Savant. I've got Wendell Horn. They're attorneys from Reynolds, Horn and Savant.